Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Christy Taylor, and I'm excited to be back with another live episode of the podcast, the Career Coach RX podcast. All month long, we have been featuring Black excellence and career experts, and I'm so excited for my last and final guest of the month, who is an exceptional person and an excellent example of Black excellence at work. She is one of my former students, Mrs. Monique Gordon. She is the founder of MoneyMo Empire. And she's going to be sharing with us her career experiences today. And she's going to be highlighting her expertise and talking about the importance of healthy financial well-being. Yesterday, we had a great event. We kicked it off. This was our culminated event for Black History Month, and we had the Black Health Summit. And we spent about 2.5 hours featuring and highlighting Black professionals from the healthcare field and some of the issues in our community with health disparities and representation. And so we want to end this month by talking about financial health and wellness in our communities. And we're going to be featuring this expert. So let me hand this over to Monique. And Monique, tell us about yourself and what inspired your career experiences.
So hello, everyone. First of all, Dr. Taylor, thank you so much for inviting me to your platform. I am truly honored as one of your former students and having learned from you in my undergrad years and going on and pursuing, my career, even where I am now. Thank you. You were a part of that. You were a pillar in that process. So thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of your platform. So born and raised in a small country town called Pahokee, Florida. A lot of people know us for football and band, and I realized that our city is very poverty driven. So in other words, a lot of financial education is not taught. Mm-hmm. Financial literacy is lacking in our city that I grew up in. So I said, you know what? I need to tackle something where I can come back and help my community. So at first I thought it was accounting. So when I was a student in your class, I thought I was pursuing accounting and getting ready to graduate from Palm Beach State to go on to Florida International University. I realized if I go into accounting, I would be more so in the corporate field. Yeah. And I realized I wouldn't be with the people if I pursued accounting. So I switched to finance, and it was the best decision I've ever made because now I'm interacting with youth, adults, the elderly, and helping them build their financial life and being able to live a holistic life from a financial standpoint. And it has been so rewarding. So I did go to FIU, got my bachelor's in finance, my master's in finance, currently becoming a certified financial planner, CFP. And from there, what I've been doing so far is comprehensive budgeting. A lot of people, they go to Google and they download these budget templates, but that doesn't work for everybody. It's simplified. It doesn't attack your money patterns, how you spend, your money habits. You don't get to see your relationship with money with those budget templates that you download from Google. So I do what is called comprehensive budgeting. We go deep into your money relationship, your money patterns, your money habits, everything relating to how you are with money. And with the charts that I provide, the graphs, and even the spreadsheets, a lot of people realize, whoa, I did not know I was like this had I not, spent the time with you to get the comprehensive budgeting done. So along with that, I work with business owners. We do bookkeeping. So a lot of business owners don't realize how important monthly bookkeeping is. If you don't have your monthly bookkeeping systems in place, then you don't know how you are doing from a financial standpoint. You don't know what you need in order to scale and grow and develop as a business and as a business owner. You don't get all the write-offs you need or deductions for your business to lower your taxes so that you can have either a lower taxable income to receive a greater refund if you do get a tax refund, or just paying less taxes. So we're talking about, I'm working with $1 million companies and bringing down their taxable income to just a few hundred of thousands of dollars. You only can get that done with the proper bookkeeping systems. And with that, you get your profit and loss statements, your balance sheet, all the financial statements you need in order to lower that taxable income to then get those taxes lowered and possibly receive a tax refund that you never even thought you could. I had one client where she ended up paying taxes the last 2 years because she's in a higher tax bracket.
Mm-hmm.
So this year she said, you know what, Monique, let me try your company and see if it will help me pay lower taxes. She ended up getting a tax refund this year. So it's working out those type of solutions to help people live a financial lifestyle that's better with monthly bookkeeping and comprehensive budgeting. And the
Monique,
beauty about this person, she didn't have a business, but we were still able to get her to lower that taxable income to then have lower taxes. So that's the business side of it. And then we have an educational component where we're now teaching young adults, youth in after school programs and summer camps. And these children are going from elementary to middle school thinking about entrepreneurship. Like, man, I didn't know I can make money as an elementary kid. Yes, you can. We can roll you into the space of creating side hustles while you're in school. What can you do when you get out of school, after school, where you're not having to go to McDonald's or Taco Bell or any of those places to work? You can pull on what you're good at and start creating funds that way.
Are you doing this in your local, because you talked about, you doing this in the Pahokee area. So are you already working with schools in Pahokee to do this?
Yes, in Pahokee, Belglade, and Riviera Beach. Those are the 3 places I'm working at now in terms of after school and summer camps.
So what does this type of program look like? I definitely, if you've listened to me before, I like to hit us with a list of tips, and specifically because of the fact that we are highlighting Black excellence and professionals this month, I want to make sure that I kind of go down and just share the career highlights piece of this, right? So Black professionals that represent only a small percentage of the total workforce in the financial industry, including such roles as financial advisors, investment bankers, and asset managers. So for you to make that shift to go from accounting to, complete like being a financial advisor and management and doing the bookkeeping. Definitely in this podcast want to talk about your experience as an entrepreneur, a few other facts, and I want you to hit on those, Monique, as we continue with this discussion. Just from the career standpoint, Black individuals are underrepresented amongst investment management professionals, as well as banking executives and asset management and in the asset management sector. And also when it comes to wealth management, the wealth management sector also shows lower representation for Black. So this industry that you're in, where you originally entered, I just want to be an accountant, and you probably have that mindset, just like the rest of us, I want to graduate and get a good job, right? Yes. So when you decided to make that transition, I definitely want you to share your experiences as an entrepreneur, but I also want to go back to something that you said earlier and let you speak on this. I'm going to put some of these statistics in the chat, but
okay.
The median household income for Black Americans is around 61% of the median household income of whites. And, even though I'm no longer in the Glades area, it's still a very much a passion. I literally did my dissertation research on that area. But if you talk about wanting to be able to give back to your community. So let's talk about your youth program, for example.
Okay.
When in that partnership that you have with schools, just what would a typical training in that program look like for you, and what have been some success stories that you have had being able to expose youth early on? And you might just be getting started, but I'm pretty sure, you heard some feedback from both students and parents who have participated and observed the program of the difference that you're already making.
Yes. So being that Pahokee already lacked financial education, so a lot of even my age bracket and up, a lot of them will tell our students saying, hey, you need to listen to what she is giving you, because we did not have this growing up. And every time I have a class and there's an adult that's like supervising the kids while I'm teaching, they're always letting them know and reminding them, hey, we did not have this growing up. So you need to make sure you're paying very much attention to her. So with that statement alone, it sets the precedence to, okay, we need to zone in on what she's telling us. And then as I'm teaching, you can see how engaged they are when you talk to them about net income, gross income, what I can do if I'm in debt. How can I create multiple streams of income to get out of debt? If a 9-to-5 job isn't it, what can I do to make sure that I have more income? What can I do to not have to deal with a 9-to-5? So bringing out topics like this really brings their minds into thinking like, whoa, okay, if I decide to go to college, I can still do a trade at the same time, or I can go straight to trade school without having to go to college because they potentially make more money than those who hold a
That's
degree.
something that we really tried to get. I know you guys have WORxK out there along with
Mm-hmm.
college, and WORxK is really focused. I remember when I was a dean out there, I really focused on we had those vocational programs, right? But WORxK
Yes.
also has done an excellent job with making sure that folks have, I'm going to plug everything I can remember about the Glades,
Yes.
right? Making sure that folks have access to those technical jobs, because that is, you got the sugarcane industry out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a level of technical expertise. We literally had students who would be taking the the bus, if because transportation was also an issue, right? Taking the bus
Yes.
to our Lake Worth campus, and it would literally take them 2 hours round trip. But we had
Mm-hmm.
things right there in the Glades and things you could do to be taking courses and bettering your life. And so what you're doing, we talk about holistic health and education. We talked a lot about health yesterday, right? But
Yes.
part of health is not just like how you take care of your body. It's the financial management piece of it too. And you talked a little bit about budgeting and these basic skills. And this is something, just like even as a health educator, or just even with the work I do now, people talk a lot about, like, these are the things that kids should be learning in school. So I commend you for the work
Yes.
you're doing. But how often is it that you encounter adults who don't even have the basic skills to budget? They might say, Monique, I'm managing my money. I'm doing my thing. I'm doing well. And then, you said, you ask them questions about budgeting and they don't have those like basic skills to be able to do those things. And how do you go about, making sure that as adults, that the adults that you're working with are learning those skills? And even beyond budgeting, Monique, I definitely want to, get your insight and expertise. Is like, if I come to you from the bottom up, like I don't know how to do anything, budget, plan financially, like how would you go about assisting someone just even like me?
So starting with when I'm teaching and you have those adult supervision, and I ask them, how many adults in here have a budget? No hands raised. And I even had a class where I do 1 hour with the parents and then 1 hour with the students. So when I get to the students and we're talking about budgeting, I say, hey guys, let's do it. Let's do something really quick. Hey parents, how many of you have budgets? No hands raised. So it really shows them like, man, and if what you're giving us is so important on how to manage our money and our parents don't even have this, it makes them think like, oh, we can have something over our parents. It makes them more engaged.
Right.
Like, oh, if I can get this, I can show my mom or my dad or my guardian how to do this. So it makes them even more engaged. Like, oh, I can have something over my mom. My mom doesn't have it all together. I can have this. And it's so interesting to see how excited they get about that. And apart from that, when we're going into the adults, when it comes to the budgeting, a lot of them, they're afraid to approach me. Like they know I have what they need, but they're afraid because their pride, for the most part, because I'm supposed to have it all together, or I'm so far into my career and I'm ashamed for you to see what my bank statements look like. Or so it's that fear of having someone else see what they look like financially.
Yeah.
And so I have to break that ice and I have to say, listen, no judgment here. We all come from somewhere, but you need this. Don't hold yourself back because of fear or pride. Let's get this thing done so you can move forward to live in a better holistic life financially. So when we dive into these things and I really start to show them, man, I spent so much money on food. I thought I was just spending $50 a week. No, ma'am. No, sir.
I've been in Dixie Fried. I probably spent about $100 in there.
Mm-hmm. So when people really get into the nitty-gritty of looking at how they look the past 6 months, because I don't say let's pull a template together and see, okay, what are your expenses? No, we go back to your financial statements from 6 months ago. Let's see what you did in January, February, March, April, May, June. And then when they get to see like, okay, 4 of those months, I did pretty well, but let me go back and see why I messed up those last 2 months. It really makes you think deeper into how you really spend because you're going back. And you can say, you know what? I realized I had a death in the family and I grieve 8. Oh, wow. So now I need to make sure that if something drastic happens again, I got to watch how I eat. So it really jogs you into saying, okay, I need to discipline when this happens in my life, or if this is going on. This attacks my finances when such an event happens in my life. So it really sets the precedence on how to move forward, even with regular things happening, how to financially move in those situations.
When I worked in the Glades, we used to talk about, I looked at some of the economic development data that was there, but again, I've been gone for about 4 years, but even for the 10 years I was there, the unemployment rate, and I'm not just talking about Pahokee, it's about Belglade, Clewiston, not Clewiston, Belglade, Pahokee, and South Bay, right? Mm-hmm. The unemployment rate was consistently about 50%, right? And most of the time, the challenges that were associated with being out there also was like the travel and the transportation to be able to get to the jobs that were in Palm Beach. So, okay, so you're doing all of this work in your community, and as an adult, I'm listening in to you and talk about like the importance of financial management and wealth. And I'm like, I don't even have a job. Like, I'm living in poverty. Like, I don't even have the means to make a budget. You got to have a job making a lot of money first to be able to budget most. So the stuff you saying sounds great, but I don't even have the income to be able to do that. Like, how do you respond to that?
So with that, when they say, oh, I don't have any money coming in to even make a budget, guess what? You still have expenses. So you need to make a budget just for the fact that you have those expenses. Don't you have a phone bill? Do you have a car? Do you pay car insurance? So you have to think about those things. Are you renting? Okay. Are you paying any water bills, light bills? So we still have to at least start with, okay, you need to really see and have a clear vision on what do I need to have money saved up for to spend, because you are spending whether you see the money or not. Money is still coming out of your pocket regardless. So we need to budget out those expenses first. After that, we go into a creating multiple streams of income plan. How can we pull on what you're good at to then monetize on that? So if you are a good baker, can we see a solution for people like they like sweets? They like having sweet things or desserts in their kitchen. So how about we monetize on that? Let's start with your friends and family first. Start baking for them. Say, hey, how much would you pay for this chocolate pie that I made, or this red velvet cake? And a lot of times they realize, oh, my family would really pay for that. So how much more do you think strangers would? Okay, you're really good at doing hair. Let's start with your friends and family. Hey, would you pay $100 for me to braid my hair? Yeah, actually, you braid really good. I would pay $150. Okay, so let's venture that out to strangers. Let's get your social media up. Show pictures of the family members' heads that you did before so that people can see, like, man, you're really good at this. If you do your own hair, take pictures of your own hair, post it. So really pulling on what you are good at and monetizing on it so we can bring more money into your bank account to then start creating a more elaborate budget. But even if you don't have the income, start budgeting the expenses first. You need to see where your money is going. So then we can build on that foundation to say, how much money do we need to be bringing in? Monetize on what you're good at.
I really love the fact that a couple of things that you said, because one of the things that I heard you say in this interview is that, okay, yes, you're pursuing your certifications, you pursued, your college degree, but vocational careers are optional, right? Those are things that people overlook because you're trying to, like, I'm very well educated academically, right? But the piece of this that people often overlook is like, there are jobs available that can often pay more. I used to train my students when I was teaching for Kaplan University in health information technology. And back then, they literally would be graduating making more than me. And that was a program that was only about 2 years. So I like the fact that you highlighted that vocational careers are an option. And I also like the fact that you highlighted that you can monetize your side hustles. There's people right now making money off TikTok. What's this girl who just dropped this 82-piece video about who did she marry? Like, monetize it. She monetized on the skill of storytelling, right?
Yes.
And she made quite a bit of money off of that. Because so what we're saying is, like, even if you feel like there's not enough, one, you got to write down and have a clear picture of what your needs are. Mm-hmm. And two, make no excuses about it. Find a way to leverage your talents to monetize that. I really like that, Monique. I like that perspective that you have. That is a forever hustle mentality, right?
Yes.
Transition a little bit to, your experiences in entrepreneurship. So now you are a business yourself. And in fact, that's how I got you to be on my podcast, is because of course, many of my students, we have connected via Facebook, but it was one day that I just happened to see you speaking about MoneyMo Empire. And I'm like, this child got a YouTube channel. You know, I still look at y'all as my babies, but I was like, she got a YouTube channel. She's running a business. She's doing her thing, right? And I really wanted to connect with you on that. And so you've shifted, you know, to entrepreneurship, and you're really not only focused on making an impact in your community, but you're doing your entrepreneurship thing. So I want to talk a little bit more about that. What was that shift like for you to go, you know, to really place your focus? Do you still work a full-time job?
Nope, not at all.
So you rely solely on yourself for this. So what was that transition like for you to be able to go from working that job, stepping out on faith into entrepreneurship, but you're still in school, right? You're pursuing your certification or
certifications.
Certifications in school. So how are you balancing all of that?
So it was definitely scary, but I knew it was something I needed to do because I was working a 9-to-5 since I've been going to Palm Beach State, getting my undergrad, been working all that time. And the more I kept working, and I kept doing administrative jobs. So I was a student assistant, go over to office assistant. Then I went over to program assistant. Then I became an executive assistant, senior administrative assistant. So I've been doing a lot of office work the entire time. And the past 2 years, I would say, of me working, frustration settled in so hard. And it got to the point where I just did not want to go to work. I loved my employees. I loved my bosses. They loved me, but I was just frustrated with working. It's like, I know I have entrepreneurship on me heavy, but why am I working a 9-to-5 job? And a lot of times we all work because we don't make enough money in our businesses. Mm-hmm. So because of that, I could never quit. And then this opportunity fell in my lap that I could use my business because my business was already registered. I was doing that after work hours, I would do my business. So I was bringing in additional streams of income through my business. And now I'm at that rock and a hard place. Like, do I push this full time and quit my job? So I've been struggling with that for about 6 months. And then the opportunity fell in my lap to teach after school programs and summer camps off of grants. Mm-hmm. So when that fell in my lap, the first grant dropped. And I said, okay, what I'm going to try to do is, finesse my way with doing this while working at the same time. But turns out my job got so hectic before the grant even started that I had to quit. People were coming against me that you would never think of, coming after my job. New people would come in, they come after my job. And I said, why am I fighting to keep a job that's not suitable for me anyway? It's not in my field. You know what? Instead of me fighting this, let me quit and push my business full time. So I stepped out on faith because this is a grant. This is something that's only temporary. Because once this goes away, it's not like a job where it's salary and you keep going. So this is, okay, Monique, are you really going to do this? You're giving away security for full-time entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what? This is for me. I love teaching. I love impacting our youth, because they are the future, and why not give it a shot? So the scariest thing I ever did was leave the job, my full-time security, to go and teach. Now, outside of this, I'm still doing the bookkeeping, still doing the comprehensive budgeting, but my main focus was teaching finance to the youth. And so that ran for about 2.5 months. And when that stopped, all income stopped. So this is the scary part of entrepreneurship. It's that part of waiting for the next contract. And my contractors know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. When you have to wait for that contract is, okay, you have to know how to let that money stretch that you got from the previous contract to last you to the next contract. So now I'm in my downtime. And in this downtime, even though I'm not working per se, I was pushing YouTube. So I was building another side of my entrepreneurship to get notoriety, to get other people to notice me. That's how you were able to notice me, because I pushed social media and I was consistent at it day in, day out. I'm doing videos, I'm editing, I'm doing the whole work behind the scenes. So doing this, and now people are realizing you invited me to your podcast. Other people invited me to come speak to other schools, to speak to their youth. Some programs invited me to speak to their adults. So it's because that downtime, I did rest. I rested for about 2 months because teaching kids is a lot. So I rested for about 2 months. And then the rest of those 6 months, I grind. I put out videos, I'm editing, and people started to notice me. But it wasn't easy in the beginning because, again, I'm not getting any money. I'm really budgeting like crazy. I'm now my own client with the comprehensive budgeting and budgeting like crazy and seeing all my savings just dwindling. Like, ooh, do I need to go get a job again? It really hit me a few times. I even applied for a few. And every time I said, no, quit the application. You're onto something. So you have to really believe in your vision and just know that if you keep pushing this, the right people it's going to come at the right time. And sure enough, the next contract came in October, but it didn't start until December. So I'm still waiting from the end of July until December was that time frame of no income. So imagine how stressful that was, but still pushing the vision. And now everything is flowing. But if I would have given it up to work a 9-to-5, I would not be in a consistent flow of income now as we speak. So it's really having patience and persistence in what you believe in. It will happen.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to entrepreneurship, I have no plans to leave full-time jobs, but this business that I'm building is going to be what takes me into retirement. And even with me building it part-time, I think, sometimes people see, they see the pretty part of it, right? Oh, she's doing something. They don't know the behind the scenes of the operations and what that looks like. Like I told you today, I could barely get on TikTok. So, I'm blessed enough to be able to have staff that I could come in and help me with some of that stuff. But it wasn't always like that in the beginning. This business is a restart of what I started when I was in the Palm Beach area with healthcare solutions. So I've been doing this for about 8 years, but I relaunched this particular business last year and just built on to what I already had. Because when I was in Palm Beach, I was actually doing fairly well running a career coaching firm there. And so I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you. This is going to run a little bit longer than 30 minutes because I got to talk to you about dispelling some myths.
Nope, I'm here. You got
when we talk about financial wellness and health and, investments and all that stuff. I just want to talk about some basic stuff. I can't speak for you, but I mean, given the context of culture, I can speak for us in general. When I say we've all got that auntie or that grandmama that carry around their money in a bosom area or keep some stuff in the mattress. And those habits are passed down, right? And so I want to talk to you about just like dispelling some myths like, oh, I don't need a bank account. I can just keep it in my mattress. I can, I don't need to invest anything. I don't need to plan for my retirement. I'll just get Social Security. Ooh. You know what I mean? So dispel some of those myths. And I really like what really concerns me in particular about our community is that we are often the target of solicitation for like financial loans and scams and some of these cards, like these payday loans and these credit cards that are not even associated with banks. You know what I mean? Just put your check on this card. Don't have your income deposited on a card because you get it a day early. You know what I mean? So I just kind of want you to share, like, you heard everything I just went down. Like, start from the beginning and myths and things that you've heard, especially like you don't need a bank account. Please dispel.
So for those who are accustomed to having the family members, our elders who hold their money somewhere in the house and do not believe in bank accounts. To be honest with everyone, there is some validity to what they're saying. Because if you look at the banking industry, which crashed 2007, 2008, 2009, and there have been a few that others don't know about. So the banking industry have crashes every now and then. It's in those moments where you need to have grandma and aunts and their way of doing things from a financial standpoint, because again, it's all a system that can fail at any moment without any indication. So I just got some news this morning about a bank that closed down and the bankers can't get their refunds. So they are without the money that they had in their bank accounts. Did not know that the bank was going to close. So it's those situations where you have to have those stashes at home that no one knows about. And unless there's one person that you can trust to not mess with your money, but all in all, make sure you do have those stashes away from financial institutions. Now, we need the financial institutions because if you want to finance assets, if you want to get a car, a house, a boat, a building, any kind of real estate, what are they looking for? Your financial statements, your bank statements. How much money do you have in these financial institutions, in the credit unions? So you have to have them if you want to finance any type of asset. And then on top of that, if you want your money to work for you, now we're tapping into investments. A bank is the worst place to put your money if you want it to work for you. Yes, have it for the sense of, using your debit or credit card or, just regular everyday spending to try to finance those assets. Make sure you have a bank account and or credit union. Outside of that, if you want to invest, look for those investment vehicles that like Fidelity, Vanguard, businesses like those to then have your money work for you. They have advisors around the clock ready to be contacted to help you on how to properly invest. You can do it on your own or you can pay a little extra for them to do it for you. But they are there to help you have your money work for you. And another type of investment that we have to tap into is retirement. Please, everyone, hear me and hear me well. Social Security will not be around forever. It might not even be around when I become an elder. They are talking about doing away with Social Security. So you have to have a plan outside of that. Because if you even look at it, it's not enough for you to live comfortably and not have any other income. Social Security is not enough. Your 401k from your job is not enough. All of the retirement accounts that your job offers is not enough.
Or she might change jobs. So if you ain't like, I've changed jobs several times, and I can tell you that even if they had a match, I'm not versed enough in finance to bring those 401ks over, right?
To
like
do the right transition.
They just changed, I believe, Fidelity. I don't even know how to check that. But the thing, you know what I'm saying? So to your point, it's like, you got to do this stuff yourself. Right?
So with retirement, a lot of people, they are relying on these retirement accounts that the jobs offer. And if you talk to a lot of older people and you ask them, why are you still working? Because they don't have enough to retire. The 401k is not enough. The 457B and the 403B, the IRA accounts are not enough. Because what everyone needs to do, I'm going to give everyone a homework assignment. And then you can reach out to me, MoneyMoEmpire.com, fill out a form, I'll get your information. But this is your homework assignment if you really want to see how all of these accounts are not enough. Look at your budget now. Create a budget that you will need when you're ready to retire. If you decide to retire at 65, 55, whatever age you decide to retire, create that budget. Line out all the expenses that you know you will need into retirement. The expenses do not go away, people. You still have expenses even as a retiree. So line out all of your expenses and how much it will cost you every month. Then you have to say, okay, I know this is something we don't like to talk about, but when do you think you will pass away? Or at least at what age do you think you will live to? If you think you will live to 100, then say, okay, I'm retiring at 65. I'm going to die sometime around 100. So you have 45 years of retirement. Do you have enough at the age of 65 to not work all the way up until 100? When you look at your expense list, multiply that by 45 because you have 45 years of retirement. And if you multiply that by 45, let's say all of your expenses, lowballing is $50,000. I'm going to pull out the calculator so you can really see how important this is to start now. So let's say your expenses are $50,000 a year. Don't forget you want to travel. Don't forget you might not want to cook every day, so you might have to have food come into the house. So think about all those things. So 50,000 times 45 years, that is $2,250,000. How many people retire with $2.25 million in their bank accounts? This is why people continue to work, because they did not realize that what Social Security accounts is going to have $2.25 million waiting for you.
And that's
401ks.
Our age, by the time they get there, it's probably not even going to exist. So you can't. So the thing is, like, how do we get, we talk about making change and being agents of change in our communities. Like, you're doing it through the education and teaching that you're providing. But we got to still get people to wake up, right? Because what it is a cycle of poverty. It is a cycle of continuous, this like when we're I can go on and on because I know I got to wrap this podcast up, but it's like when we're already living in this challenging situation where we don't have access to adequate employment, and then we're creating these generations and cycles of living in systematic government dependence. And we just assume that when we get older, that same level of government dependence is still going to be there. What you're trying to do, Monique, by educating people, you're breaking a cycle. Even with my retirement plan, I'm not going to have $2 million in the bank. I'm going to be working for a while. I'm very lucky and blessed to still be in the military, which is going to give me a pension, right? Yeah. The last question I want to ask you when we talk about holistically is, and I recognize you might not do estate planning, but God, we got to stop the GoFundMe for your funeral planning.
We tap into estate planning. Yes.
Yeah. You do estate planning. So let's talk about that, right? Yes. Because it doesn't cost that much to get at least a term life policy. I am so scared of being underinsured. I think I got term life, whole life, disability. Like these are things I pay out of my pocket because I used to work in insurance, so I understand it, right? Yes. But for the average everyday person, and even somebody in their youth, you're not thinking about I could die tomorrow. But the one thing that's guaranteed is that we're gonna die, right? And so when you pass away, you don't want somebody having to do a GoFundMe for your funeral, because even with that, I've seen it's really, you need about $8,000 to $10,000 to bury somebody. And the GoFundMe only raised $200 because they didn't have it yesterday. They're not going to have it today, right? So, I think for my whole life policy, for my term life, I pay about $25 a month. For my whole life policy, I pay about $130, but the whole life bills. So when we talk about estate planning and just that basic part of preparing yourself to pass away and leaving a legacy for your family, what simple advice would you give?
I would tell everyone to invest. We're talking about investing and make your money work for you, right? Invest in life insurance.
Yes.
And I say this heavily because a lot of people look at life insurance as a burial policy. It is good that when you pass away, you're leaving something behind to take care of the funeral costs and then to leave it behind to your loved ones who do depend on you. Yes. But what a lot of people don't realize, life insurance, it's to secure your life while you're living. A lot of people don't realize you can plan for your retirement through life insurance.
Can you tell me a lot of things between a whole life and a term life policy, Mo?
Yes. So the term life is what you want to have because that's the least expensive policy, right? So you could pay $15, $20, $25, depending on the amount of policy you decide to take out to leave behind, right? Take that out for your loved ones. That's the one you want to have to make sure that your loved ones are secure enough that at least for the next 5-10 years while you're gone away. Now, for your security as you're living, you want to make sure you have different kinds. You have universal life, you have whole life. And then universal life goes into a lot of other different categories, but the main thing is universal life and whole life. Whole life is the most expensive. So a lot of people choose universal life because there's a lot of flexibility. You can change your monthly payment if you need to. There's a lot of things you could do with universal life. So a lot of people go for that. But through universal life and whole life, there's something called cash value. Now, when you listen to a lot of insurance agents, they always say, oh, there's a savings component. They're not supposed to say that, but really and truly, it is a savings component through the cash value. The more you're putting in, the more you put into that policy, the more cash value you build. You can borrow off of that cash value as often as you need to. If you want to get your dream house, you can take your down payment for that. If you want to send your children off to school, you can take from your cash value and send your children to school. The cash value is what you can use to then do a lot of things financially to live a holistic lifestyle financially. So the key is throwing as much money into life insurance to build that cash value as possible. Why? Because it increases. So if you're throwing in $200 a month, $100 a month, by the end of the year, you don't have, if you're putting in $100 a month, at the end of the year, you've put in what? $1,200. But with the cash value buildup, it adds on interest. So you're earning. So you can end up leaving out the year with $2,000 easily. So this is why what we call making your money work for you. This is the proper investment to make to ensure that you have the proper financial life holistically. But don't think you can get this policy and pull out after 1 year. No, give it time to build. We're talking about after 2 to 3 years, then you want to start thinking about making those financial moves with your life insurance. But if you take it right away, you're gonna get flagged. Let it build. Look at this as a midterm / long-term investment, not short-term. Okay.
All right. Mo, thank you so much for the great advice. I think that there's like really so much more to this discussion, right? And so we want to wrap up today by you sharing final words of wisdom. And if you are interested in learning more about MoneyMo Empire and the education that she provides, I mean, just that simple, all of the questions that you and information that you provided us with today was so important, right? These are questions that people are not even always considering, especially when we wonder how, different diverse groups of races are leaving behind wealth for their family. It is really through whole life insurance policies, right? But beyond their investments, so that's the most simple way you can do it. But we're going to stop there. If you want to learn more about what MoneyMo does and how to contact her, she's going to tell you right now. And she's going to also share with us, Mo, some final words of wisdom.
Okay, so to contact me, because finance is so broad, there's so much to it. You can contact me by email at info@moneymoempire.com. That's info@moneymoempire.com. And we also have a website, www.moneymoempire.com. And there's a lot of tabs. You click on any of the tabs, put in your information, and it will come directly to me. Okay. And then final words is finance is so important. You want to make sure that you are doing your financial planning. Financial planning consists of so much: retirement, investment, income taxes, budgeting, credit building. There is so much to your financial plan that if you're lacking in any one of these areas, you could be tapping into your savings account and going bankrupt at any point of your lifestyle or of your lifetime. So please, if you need help with your financial planning, reach out to us, moneymoempire.com. Let's get you on the right track. If you need assistance with anything finance, reach out to, even if you want classes, we can teach you how to do some of these things, but you have to reach out because your financial plan is so important for you to live that holistic life that you've been wanting to live and dreamed of living since you were a little boy or a little girl. So let's do this thing together. Reach out to us. We're here to help.
Thank you, guys. This has been our final episode for this month. MoneyMo, my baby girl. I'm really proud of you for everything you've done. But this is an excellent example of showcasing and highlighting Black career professionals. And if you go back and listen to some of our podcasts this month, we really provided you with a holistic perspective of the Black experience while still highlighting Black professionals. So reach out to Monique Gordon of MoneyMo Empire. Follow her on all social media. You can find this episode. It'll be available on Spotify, Amazon Music, as well as iHeartRadio. You can also find it on our YouTube channel, and reach out to us at any of our social media at Career Coach RX. Our website is careercoachrx.com or worksolutions.com. Thank you for tuning in and have a great day.